Welcome to the Ralph E. Johnson Jr. YouTube channel, where we feature thought-provoking videos with informative topics. Today's topic is all about the redevelopment that is going on in cities throughout America, particularly the inner cities. This is great, definitely overdue. But we have a small problem. Maybe in many people's eyes, we have a huge problem, because in the inner cities, during all of this redevelopment, a lot of inner city residents are being displaced. They are not being able to enjoy the fruits of their tax money at work. Let's talk about this. Something serious is going on. In a lot of major cities in America, redevelopment is booming, and rightfully so. Some people call this gentrification, urban renewal. Whatever you decide to call it, we all must admit that a lot of redevelopment is needed in a lot of these cities. People are getting tired of living in rat-infested, trash-infested environments. They are getting tired of living around dilapidated houses that are falling down in the middle of the day, with gas explosions all over the place, because a lot of these vacant houses have been left unkept for decades. People are getting tired of the drug trafficking, crime all over the place, insatiable violence, and indefinite poverty. People want a lot better for themselves and their families, particularly their children, who are indeed the future. And I do not blame them. I want the same. But, and there is always a but, I would be remiss if I did not mention the fact that a lot of these conditions are indeed predicated on neglect, lack of development in these communities, lack of investment in these communities, lack of progressive businesses in these communities that provide progressive services and any type of employment, lack of transportation infrastructure that actually link residents to areas where there are jobs. The fact of the matter is, as long as the conditions remain the same, the cycle will continue to repeat itself. Yes, it's time to clean up neighborhoods, build new homes, schools, pavements, streets, etc. But once these communities are redeveloped, what happens to the residents? Unfortunately, when you rebuild these state-of-the-art communities and do not bring in the businesses that supply jobs or have a transportation infrastructure in place so the residents can have access to jobs, they won't be able to afford the new developments that are allegedly built on their behalf. They are going to be economically locked out. To me, this appears to be a form of manufactured discrimination. Let's get an understanding. All of these affordable housing crusades that are invading inner cities, this is not about philanthropy. This is about business. All of the communities and neighborhoods that were systematically neglected over the decades, these are gold mines to these developers. They swarm into inner cities like vultures and make a ton of money. Under the banner of urban renewal, backroom deals, political motivations, these developers are given all kinds of financial package deals, primarily the almighty tax break. Many of the developers make deals that only require them to house a small percentage of low-income residents, normally around 20%, while the other 80% of housing is rented at market rate, which is full price. This means developers benefit from taxpayers' money, get low interest loans, plus they rent most of their housing at full market price. As far as low-income residents are concerned, who housing is supposed to primarily benefit the most, they are only reserved a few affordable housing units. In many cases, this is how it all plays out. So what happens to the other 80% or majority of residents that are promised affordable housing? They end up displaced in surrounding counties or other parts of the city, or other regions where agencies find homes for them. Now, a lot of them are promised red carpet returns to their rebuilt communities. But in these cases, it's always a but or two. But because of made-up laws, new policies, lack of finances, these displaced residents never make it back to neighborhoods where they lived all of their lives. Now, a lot of officials will refute this claim, but all you have to do is visit surrounding counties, those regions where these displaced residents were housed, other parts of the city, and you'll find many of these displaced populations. Once residents are displaced, unfortunately, the cycle of generational violence, crime, and poverty will continue because these residents are displaced into isolated communities with limited transportation, no jobs, and with a subsidized income that enables them to maintain the same quality of life, the same living conditions they just left. Yes, inner cities are being redeveloped, which is wonderful, but inner city residents are being left behind. If we do not socially and economically develop our residents, our citizens, they will not be able to reach the criteria to live in redeveloped cities. So what's the use of affordable housing anyway? They will not be able to afford it. They'll simply continue to be displaced.